I told my mother I would not be listed on her DNR after she spent my father's funeral telling guests I was the daughter who never really loved him. My dad died on a Tuesday in March. He was 67, heart failure. I got the call at 6 in the morning and drove 3 hours to the hospital. My mom was already there with my brother Dean and his wife. She looked at me when I walked in and said, "You made it," like she was surprised. The funeral was 4 days later. I helped plan everything. I picked the flowers because my dad always said lilies made a room feel like a garden. I wrote the program. I tracked down his old colleagues because I knew he'd want them there. My mom barely spoke to me the whole time. She had Dean for that. During the reception, I went to get a glass of water in the kitchen. The door didn't fully close and I could hear my mom talking to my dad's cousin Bev. She was saying something about how hard it was, how she wished he'd really known how loved he was. Then Bev said something I couldn't catch, and my mom said, "Well, you know, Carol was always different with him. I don't think she ever really loved him the way Dean did. Carol is me." I stood there holding that glass for probably a full minute. Then I went back out and sat through the rest of it. I helped my mom's friend find her coat when she was leaving. I drove home that night and didn't sleep. I didn't say anything to my mom for almost 2 months. I kept telling myself I'd misheard, or that grief was doing something to her. I'd been her emergency contact for 6 years. I was the one taking her to cardiology appointments every few months because Dean lives 4 states away and has little kids. I was the one in the waiting rooms asking the questions she forgot to ask, filling prescriptions on the way home, but I hadn't misheard. About 3 weeks after the funeral, my mom's neighbor Patty stopped me in my mom's parking lot, said she was sorry for my loss. Then she said, "Your mom mentioned you two were never quite as close, that you weren't as close to your father as your brother was." Patty had that look, like she felt bad saying it but figured I should know. I thanked her and got in my car and just sat there. I called my friend Marta. I said, "My mom told people at my dad's funeral that I didn't really love him." Marta went quiet for a second. Then she said, "What are you going to do?" I said I didn't know yet. I kept taking my mom to her appointments, kept calling every week, but something had shifted. Every time she called, I felt this tiredness I didn't used to feel. I just kept going because I didn't know what else to do. About 6 weeks ago, she had a cardiology appointment where they were updating her advance directive. I was there like always. The doctor went through everything and asked about her DNR, who she wanted making decisions. She said Dean first. He's always been her favorite, and that's never been a secret. Then the doctor asked about a secondary contact, and my mom turned to me and said, "I'd want Carol listed too, obviously. She's good in a crisis." I said I'd need to think about it. My mom looked at me. "Think about what?" I said, "I'll let you know." She asked me again in the parking lot. I told her I wasn't comfortable being listed right now. She stopped walking. "What does that mean? You're not comfortable?" I told her I heard what she said to Bev at Dad's reception, that Patty had repeated it to me 3 weeks later, that I'd been sitting with it for 2 months. She said, "That was grief." I was out of my mind, Carol. I didn't mean any of it. I said, "I know you were grieving. I was too. But I can't be the person making end-of-life decisions for you when you've been telling people I didn't love my own father. Either you believed it and I'm genuinely the wrong person for that form, or you didn't believe it and just said it anyway at my dad's funeral to anyone who'd listen. Either way, I don't know what to do with that right now." She said I was being vindictive, that she was sick, that Dean couldn't just drop everything. I said, "I know, I'm not going anywhere. I'll still take you to your appointments. I'll still call. But I'm not signing a legal document saying I'll make life and death decisions for a woman who told a room full of people at my dad's funeral that I never really loved him. That's just where I am." She called Dean that night. He called me and said I was being cruel, that she's 70 and she's scared and I was making her sicker by doing this. I said she said it to people who knew him, out loud, at his funeral, while I was standing 20 feet away helping her guests find their coats. Dean went quiet. I said, "When she's actually ready to talk about it, I'm here. Until then, your name is on the form." He hasn't called back since.